Today on the Tim Marner Podcast Show, we've got Stephanie Jane Miller, online health coach. I don't wonder why I just did the intro like that, but I think I'm going to keep it in. Stephanie Jane Miller, my friend Stephanie Jane Miller, we've known each other for years. Online health coach. What is that? Online health coach. What does that mean to you? What is it do you do?
What do I do? The $1 million question.
Yeah, the $1 million question.
I help people overcome chronic health conditions by or through education and empowerment, so they can go on to flourish.
Yeah.
With sustainable.
It's always been nutrition. Has that always been the sort of key to your sort of what you do? Is that your sort of, I'm always using the word modality, aren't we? Is that your sort of main modality?
Yeah. Using nutrition as a...
Where's that come from? Why is that such a big key?
Personally, or...
Personally, but yeah.
So I suffered myself with chronic health issues in my early 20s, so IBS is the umbrella term that it's called. And my journey with that was nothing short of horrendous. Backwards and forwards to the GP, medication after medication, test after test. And my journey that spanned with that was 10 years of resolving and getting to a full sort of, to a place where I don't suffer anymore with gut issues. And I was fobbed off a lot and even told at one point that what I was feeling and experiencing was in my head.
Right. That's got to be a common factor for a lot of people, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's massive. And obviously with my work now, there's so many people that suffer daily and just learn to live with it, which isn't right. And just because it's common and there's so many people that suffer does not by any stretch mean it's normal.
What is IBS? When people say the word IBS, what? I know it's irritable bowel syndrome, but what does that mean?
Well, exactly. It's been given this label, let's say, and it can cover anything from bloating, gas, sickness, diarrhea, constipation.
But people just go, oh, I've got IBS. I'm like, right, fine. And they just kind of go.
It's like an umbrella term that's given to these conditions.
And they just deal with it. Well, I've got IBS, I'll deal with it.
Yeah. Or I think as well, as a society, we tend to attach ourselves to a label. And we want a diagnosis so that we've got something to attach ourselves to. And then we live by that label. And I've been guilty of that myself. I'm not sitting here saying that I'm perfect and I've never been there, but I have. And I've been in those shoes of the majority of people that I work with. And once you attach yourself to a label and you live by it, it's very hard to ping yourself out of that. And it consumes you daily. You never really know how your stomach's going to react. Socialising, eating out, travelling, all impact you. And then the mental side of that, it becomes a bit soul destroying.
Yeah.
Because you think you're just going to have to live your life like that forever.
How did you get over it then? Obviously you've been labelled, you've put this label, you put a label on yourself, you live by it. What was that moment where you thought, wait a minute, I'm going to take it into my own hands?
So I went into the world of personal training. That was 15 years ago. And naturally with that came delving a bit deeper into the nutrition side. But, and again, I hold my hands up because I've been there, done it, and I've done the tests. I've been down the whole food intolerance route, doing those tests. I was even a practitioner for providing food intolerance tests for people. And when I'm transparent, I'm transparent. I've been there and made those mistakes. And 7 years ago, I did a naturopath diploma. Now, naturopathy or holistic nutritional therapy is all about natural healing of the human body. And that is about delving really deep into the root cause of what's actually going on for an individual. So we're all a study of one. All my programming is bespoke to an individual, and that is because no one's lived Tim Marner's life.
Yeah.
Nobody's come into this world as you have, the same as I haven't, the same as Jane down the street hasn't. Everybody's unique. And so the approach that you have to take, it's just hard. It's really, really hard to do that inner work and to really find out what's going on for you. And so by doing that course enabled me, so that's only going back 6-7 years ago, to really get to the bottom, no pun intended, of what was going on.
Yeah. The intolerance tests then, what's your thoughts on intolerance tests?
Some people aren't going to like what I'm going to say here because...
You're in the right place for that. Okay.
I think this comes back to everybody wanting a diagnosis or wanting to know, or they think they want to know that there's one thing that is impacting them. And once they know what that one thing is, they can overcome it. Food intolerance testing is just a finger prick blood test normally. One of the problems with that is that the blood that's picked up is only that blood at that moment in time. Within 2 hours' time, you could take the result again and it'd be totally different. Also with food intolerance tests, they only pick up or tend to pick up the foods that you eat the most of. So all of a sudden somebody goes from thinking, right, that's what I've been eating for X amount of years, to suddenly, oh my God, that's what I'm intolerant to.
You know, I started eating bread because you said it's not that.
Yeah.
I started eating bread again and I'm fucking fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was that.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Well, not nuts, but
No.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I had this thing in my head that like bread has been bloating me and stuff like that, and it's nothing doing that at all.
Yeah.
There's something a lot deeper.
Yeah.
Go on, I'm digressing there.
That's
but
all right.
yeah, the intolerance and the prick of the finger. I never looked at it like that before.
Yeah, and so it's not food that's the problem, it's the individual's internal body ecology, essentially.
Yeah.
So there's the whole ecosystem within our stomach and our gut.
Which is where you told me about the gut microbiome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, allergies and intolerances are completely different. If somebody's got an allergic response, which is usually like anaphylactic, so similar to a peanut allergy, you would have swelling of the throat, lips, hives on the skin. That's a real allergy. So like celiac.
Yeah.
People that suffer with celiac disease, that's real. Intolerances, they can be overcome. I'm not going to use the word cured because again, getting a bit of trouble for that, but yeah.
So you did that and you were like, right, I'm going on this journey now with yourself.
Yeah, and also because I'd done food intolerance testing myself, but then we're still eating some of the foods that came up on my intolerance test. And sometimes it would cause me a problem and sometimes it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And so there in itself lies the problem in that, well, there's no consistency here. So the only thing that's consistent is me and what's going on for me day to day.
So what changed in you then when you started looking at that? Did the naturopath? What was them significant changes that you made within your diet and your lifestyle?
That I made personally?
Yeah.
For me, it was really working on my gut microbiome. I did remove trigger foods because if the gut lining is damaged...
What the hell's a trigger food? What's that?
So things that do or can trigger the gut, so things like gluten, caffeine, alcohol, spicy foods, onion, garlic, they are sort of known triggers and they will trigger people more when their gut lining is damaged.
Right.
So if people, for example, have leaky gut syndrome, which is where the gut membrane has become permeable and there can be microbes of food leaking out into the bloodstream, and so that's why they suffer.
So you got off the trigger foods, let your stomach heal for a bit, and then you can sort of introduce them back in.
So typically with somebody's healing journey, you have to go through a period of removing those trigger foods just so you can give the digestive system and the gut a bit of a break.
Yeah.
Whilst you work on re-inoculating and repairing that gut lining. But you will eventually get to a place where you can tolerate any food that you eat. So for me now, it wouldn't matter what I eat. I'm absolutely okay. The only time I probably do feel anything is if I've had a big meal out, like 3 courses, a couple of glasses of wine, a real overindulge.
Like complex, everything's quite complex.
Yeah, quite rich.
Going shit.
Yeah, gut's going nuts, like what are you doing this for? But that would be like a one-off and I'd know why it's happened. But yeah, generally day to day, like everything I was told I was intolerant to, I'm fine with, absolutely fine with.
So this is what you'd help people with now, mainly. And what's that process look like when somebody like comes to you? Obviously, we've had a little, me and you together, but like just to let everyone else know, what does that look like when somebody approaches you?
It's quite in depth, and I understand it's quite overwhelming with the amount of information that I ask from people and through my methodology. But the process that I put people through is the closest I can get without actually living with a person. So I need to know symptomatically what's going on for them day to day, their bowel movements day to day, what that bowel movement looks like, not in terms of photographic evidence or anything, but using the Bristol stool chart as a matrix. The more information I've got on somebody, the easier.
The Bristol stool chart.
The Bristol stool chart.
Which means what?
So the Bristol stool chart is a chart that's scaled from 1 to 6.
On what thickness?
Yeah, on what a
colour.
On what a bowel movement looks like. So
right.
number 1
and
is
what a healthy one looks like.
Yeah. So
what does a healthy one look like?
Like a sausage.
Right. Okay.
Like a smooth sausage. Smooth in consistency.
Yeah.
Easy to pass.
Yeah.
Virtually no wiping.
Right.
Let's go deep.
Okay.
Shit talk.
It's shit talk. Yeah. It's important, isn't it? It's important to people to know. It's all right to talk about shit, isn't it?
Of course it is. We're all doing it every day, or should be. But people sometimes are a bit like, oh, right, okay. But I've heard it all.
Yeah.
So there's no judgment zone. Again, the more information I've got, the easier the job becomes. So this is all like in a tracking sheet.
Yeah.
So their bowel movements, symptomatically how they're feeling. For women, their cycle, where they're at, because that's hugely impactful. The two, gut health and hormonal health, are inextricably linked. There's no doubt.
Go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's a problem with one, there's usually a problem with the other.
Yeah.
And if you solve one, the other one rights itself as well. So yeah, there's a bit of a cycle going on there. All food and drink that they're taking on board. Sleep cycles is another one. And we just build this picture up over time. And for me, it's about giving the client the space and the insight to see what is going on for them. Because usually through this process, they start to see what is happening. Because actually what's impacting them day to day doesn't impact me.
Yeah.
Not saying that in an awful way, but it's them that has to see it. And it's them that have to realise what is going on for them.
Yeah. It's so individual, isn't it? Like you said, every person is so individual. It's like there's not one thing that's going to fix everybody, is there?
No. And I think this is the other problem, that people get very distracted by what their friends are doing, what's worked for them, what book have they read. I mean, how many self-help books are there out there now? Oh, have you read this? Have you read that? Have you actually done anything that's in these books? And also, if there was one book...
What to be said about that, isn't there? People watching podcasts and reading books, and it's like, and second example, you're not actually doing any of the fucking things that are in it.
You can read it, but you need to do the after reading it. Yeah. And also, if there was one book that could cure everybody, well, we'd all be all right, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of introspection that needs to go on.
But obviously there's a lot of time where you need to spend with that client first to really understand them before you can even... What are you looking for? Once you've filled all that, and what are you looking for? There's obviously the poo's off, the mood's off, what?
Anything. Any little bit of information that they can give. And
so someone's like, I've got really bad stomach, I've got bad bloating, they'll fill all these things in. How long does that go on for? A couple of weeks before you can kind of get the data enough. You're looking for data, aren't you, to start off with?
Yeah.
And then you go, oh wait a minute, there's you're eating 5 Kit Kats at...
Yeah, what are you doing that for?
Yeah.
So usually there's things within a week, within 7 days of data, there'll be things that I'll notice and I'll go, right, well, there's this for a start that's just silly, why are you doing that? And the process of the tracking is a live document, so I can comment on what they're putting on, they can see it, they can implement a small change.
Yeah.
So they're made aware of these small changes over time. And so that means that the changes they make are so subtle that...
Give me some examples of like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like,
a main one will be hydration, and this will sound so basic, but some people that come to me, they'll be drinking 3 litres of water, for example, and you go, right, okay. More often than not, you think, great, tick, well done.
yeah.
For some people, that's actually too much water.
What?
So they could be flushing their body of minerals if they're having too much.
I've never heard that before in my life.
Well, there you go. Heard it here first.
Really?
Yeah. And it's real, like anything with the body, it's such a fine line and a fine balance. And the other one is this water just plain water, like this bottle that you've kindly given me? Or are they drinking structured water? And by that I mean loaded with minerals.
What do you mean by that?
To balance the body. So to hydrate the body, you need minerals present to take the water to the cells. So the main one being sodium, salt, which a lot of people are scared of because they're told, don't have too much salt.
How do you get salt in water?
Well, really easily, you can just put Celtic sea salt under your tongue and drink a glass of water. That is the easiest way. Or there are a lot of electrolytes about now, which you can just pop into your drink and...
Should we talk about me for a minute, right? So
go on then, let's make it about
right,
you.
So what I'm doing is I'm drinking maybe 4 litres of water a day.
That's a lot.
Yeah, maybe too much. Maybe I'm flushing myself of
minerals.
Whatever. But I'm actually having BCAs in that water because I hate the taste of water.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Indifferent.
Do you?
But if that's working for you, so BCAAs are fine as long as you're having a good quality one.
But should I really just be drinking water just on its own, or can I add something like that to the water? Am I still getting... What am I saying?
You're still getting hydrated?
What am I? Because I hate water, I hate the taste of water, but having water with a tiny bit of Vimto in or something, is that still me getting... I know it sounds really ridiculous, am I still getting the water intake by putting Vimto in it?
You are, but you have to remember that anything you're adding like cordial, your body's then having to process that. Yeah. That you're putting in. So you'd be better putting an electrolyte tablet in, for example. And I know that,
What, like a Lucozade tablet?
No, it's not Lucozade.
What is it?
So an electrolyte tablet contains sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium. So a balance of those minerals. So everybody talks about vitamins. Not many people talk about minerals, and they are the things that keep us alive. So people can find themselves really ill in hospital. A friend's father-in-law, he's in his late 70s, but dragged into hospital, really, really low magnesium levels. So he was virtually about to die, so they had to get him on an IV drip for magnesium top-up.
Let me ask you this question. Can I get sorry, Steph. Right, I've got so many fucking questions. If I add an Epsom salt bath and magnesium, right, can I get magnesium into my body by having a bath?
Yeah, that's one of the easiest ways, because your skin is your biggest organ and it absorbs everything. So via osmosis, you're literally sat in a bath and just...
Epsom salts, Himalayan salts, are they the same thing?
Epsom salts.
Epsom salts, yeah.
Right. Your Epsoms or magnesium flakes, I think they're a thing as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I'm having water, change to a mineral tablet instead.
Yeah. Or just, mind you don't like the taste of water, so yeah, that would...
I hate the taste of water, that's my problem.
Doesn't taste of anything.
And I think that's the problem.
Just saying.
I know. But if I add strawberry water... Yeah.
What's that? Fresh strawberries in it?
No. It's got a touch of fruit in it. Yeah, I knew you were going to say that because I love that stuff.
Just because of all the sweeteners and flavourings that are in it. And again, they're damaging to the gut over time.
So when it comes to the programme, that's one of the things that you've seen, that people are drinking too much water.
Some people, just as an example.
Yeah. What other things?
And too much plain water. So once they start adding the salt in, that's much more beneficial.
What other things? What other kind of things do you see?
Too many processed foods.
Yeah.
But they're not realising the processed foods. So typically people think... I'm trying to think of an example of this now. A processed food is a microwave meal, for example.
Yeah.
Which is obviously processed.
Obvs.
Yeah. But things like... People hate this as well. Like protein yogurts, these protein puddings. all breads that are on a shelf. I know you mentioned bread before. Bagels, crumpets.
You just listed all my food.
Yeah, it's all of
The
everybody's
protein
food.
yogurts and tasty little yogurts you can get.
Tasty little yogurts.
It says protein on the front of it in big capital letters.
Yeah, it's great marketing.
Bastards.
I know.
And when you said breads, what bread should I be eating?
So the bread I always recommend is just a pure sourdough bread, because it's literally got 3 or 4 ingredients in it.
Right, yes, that's not what I'm having.
So it has to be a decent one.
Right.
And the things that...
I don't think you stated that when we talked last time. You
Maybe
said you
not.
can eat bread again, but I feel like...
Or did you listen properly?
yeah, maybe I've cut out the fact that you said that and I've just gone straight to the Warburton's Toasties with black butter on it.
Can't name Warburton's.
Player. I know.
But the thing that people need to look out for in those products are the industrial seed oils. So
Yeah.
rapeseed oil, vegetable oil, corn oil, there's loads, canola oil. They're in everything. And they are highly inflammatory to the body.
Yeah.
And again, people think, oh, but I'm only having a bit of it each day.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of it. But over time and over a lifetime,
That's where the wall of your gut starts just like breaking down. You're getting
Yes.
this leaky gut and it gets really bad.
yeah, it's
Get
going to
bad
cause you a
pains.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that the main thing of people's sort of like inflammation? I mean, it's mainly inflammation, isn't it? People are,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that swelling
chronic.
of the stomach.
Just chronic inflammation internally, yeah. Cells, cell membranes. Yeah, your body's soaking up absolutely everything that you put into it. Everything.
Let me shift course a little bit. Let's talk about adventure, Steph.
Oh.
Tell me some of the adventures that you've done. Tell other people the adventures you've done. Because some of the stuff you've done is like, I mean, you look at you and then you'll be like, there's no way she's done that.
Why'd you say that?
I don't know, not sure. Because like, you've always been softly spoken, you've got a lovely way about you, but you've got this demon inside of you, haven't you, that you've got quiet, and a lot of people don't see that about you.
Yeah.
So just tell people some of the stuff that you've done.
I've been up Kilimanjaro. That was probably the first big sort of adventure that I did. I've run marathons, half marathons. I've done an ultra in the Sahara Desert. And last week I attempted 250k over 5 days for an amazing mental health charity. That was Big Moose. Kudos to them. It wasn't my week event-wise. I got pulled out on the 3rd day with injury. But I still managed 2 ultras that week, back to back. A 46k and a 52k, so...
Where does that come from?
Still a win.
Where does that side come from?
Why I got into it?
Yeah.
Interesting, because I spoke about this with the team last week. On the back of trauma, and there is a direct correlation between people who are involved in ultra events and have been through traumatic experiences.
Do you talk about that? Trauma?
Yeah, and I did last week. So on 3 or 4 of the evenings, they asked for speakers. So there's myself and another chap on the first night. And it's the first time I've actually told my story to an audience.
Is it?
Yeah. Or an audience of that size. I've spoken to obviously various different people about it. But trauma, and then also family things that have happened since then as well. They were my real sort of pushes into the ultra world. And
Because you're running away from that. You felt like you're in control of that. What's the... I love stuff like it. It always interests me because it's like something that I got such trauma attached to my training that, you know, try to change that relationship with it's like you're toughening this outside this, nobody's going to hurt me again kind of thing.
And I spoke about that actually. Again, it's a really fine line between, are you using the training, the running as another distraction, like you said, are you running away or running towards? So are you using it as that, or are you using it in a healthy way? Because we're all addicted to something, aren't we?
Yeah.
Pick your poison, basically. Obviously, training and exercising is healthy, but it's also got to be balanced.
Can you talk about the trauma, or do you not want to talk about the? I'm cool. I just wondered what it was.
Yeah, I mean, you'll remember when I tell you, because I think I came to you about a year after it happened when Steph was lost, and that was part of what I spoke about the other night. I just turned 36 in 2016. December my life was as stable as I thought it was ever going to be. I had a house, a stable job, a partner. I was 12 months pregnant. No, I wasn't 12 months pregnant. I was 12 weeks pregnant. And there was a lot there that I had all the tick boxes of what you thought
it was a perfect life
you should have at that point in your life. And then a week before Christmas, I found out I'd had a miscarriage. Something that's not really spoke about enough. There's been a lot of it in the media recently. And you never think it's going to happen to you, even though it happens to a lot of women. And you're always told don't tell anybody that you're pregnant until you've had your 12-week scan. Which I always found odd, because in the event that these things happen,
just in case.
Yeah, but in the event of just in case, you're going to want people to talk to. So I had told people, not lots of people, but my close friends knew, parents knew. And on the back of that happening, my partner left me. Literally left me in a heap on the stairs. And at that moment, obviously not knowing what the hell was going on, and literally having your carpet ripped from underneath you, was awful. Nothing short of horrific, really. Drove to my parents.
Were you living in Lim at the time?
I was in Altrincham.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I'm in Lim now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And drove straight to my parents. Mum was very optimistic at the time, as she can be. Good people do bad things sometimes. I'm sure there's a reason. Anyway, that passed. Christmas came and went. It was awful. Because we were at it was a massive family Christmas, like a big group of us had gone out, but extended family didn't know, so that was really tough to sit amongst that, but me knowing what was going on for me. New Year came, kept myself really busy, worked, kept myself distracted. In the February, I distinctly remember having an afternoon out with some friends, got blind drunk, absolutely blind drunk. Again, numbing, distraction. Steph's okay, it's fine, let's move on.
You're not talking about how you felt, you truly felt to anybody?
Not really, because you almost feel like nobody else would understand.
Right.
And I wouldn't expect them to unless they'd been through it. And two things had happened for me at the same time there.
Yeah.
So it was a lot, I just couldn't process it. My friends ended up taking me home and putting me to bed, I don't even remember. And I then didn't leave my house for 4 days.
Just everything hit you?
Yeah. I was in a hole, like a really big hole. And that's when I reached out and had therapy. Which was amazing. It worked really well for me. I remember at the time I was being quite pragmatic and very matter of fact with the guy that I saw. He was called Tim, actually. And it had only been, 2 and a bit months? Say 8 to 10 weeks. And I remember saying to him, well, how long am I going to feel like this for? Because it
you
was
can be like that, you can't you?
Yeah, because it was so far removed from how Steph was.
Yeah.
And nothing bad had ever really happened in my life to that point.
Yeah, perfect Steph.
Not perfect Steph, but just, I'd had a really good upbringing,
Perfect Steph.
I'd had all the love in the world from my parents, school was fine. I had a small incident of bullying in high school.
Was this at the same time as a personal trainer at Hill Country Club?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect Steph, that's what I used to call you.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
Why are you telling me that now?
Well, I'm telling you now. Why not?
And so he kind of smirked when I said that, and he said, look, it's been 8 weeks or however long it had been. But to you it feels like forever because you are living it day in, day out, minute by minute, hour by hour. You go to bed at night, you go to sleep, you wake up, this again. But for me, him saying that to me really, really hit, and it made me understand. And he said, the best advice I can give you, he said, reduce your working hours. Easier said than done when you're self-employed. Really step back and take time out. Self-care was a big one. And I did everything he said because that's just what I would do. And it worked for me. It was hard. But typically what we tend to do is when bad things have happened or we've got shit going on is, I'll just distract myself.
Yeah.
Keep myself busy.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Keep myself busy, then I don't need to think about it. I don't need to sit with those emotions that are really horrible and really difficult.
Yeah. That's what I used to do.
Yeah. And so you'll know that is the worst thing to do.
Worst thing to do. Hardening the exterior.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no one can ever get hurt ever again.
No, wearing that
You
mask.
just harden your heart. You don't let amazing people in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when that self-care bit that he said, what does that look like for Steph? When he said, look, Steph, do self-care and reduce your hours, what does that look like?
So back then, it was, I mean, I love being outside.
Yeah.
So hence the running, hiking, adventures. It grounds me hugely. Like my mood can change like that within minutes of getting outside. And with the running in particular, it's the only time I find real peace and real flow.
Yeah, I get that.
Like I can just one foot in front of the other. Your breath. Yeah, it just does something to me.
And you teach people this as well? Did you like, I know they're coming for a certain thing, but they also get that side of Steph as well, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, because I'm transparent with everything. And I think that's really, really important. And again, that gives, if you lead with vulnerability, which is what I did last week, talking to that group of people, other people will open up. And that's what happened last week.
Yeah.
There were some really powerful conversations that came on the back of me sitting and telling that story. And then a year after that happened in 2016, my dad was diagnosed with motor neuron disease. So again, it was almost, you can sit and think, why me?
Yeah.
And of course, why me? But I think it's important not to fall into the trap of being a victim to life happening at you. It's happening for you. And I think you can always lean into your resilience. But that was hard. That was hard to process too.
It's a big one, that, isn't it?
As a family, yeah. Yeah. And I think when you're watching somebody's physicality being taken away from them,
It's always been a strength, or it's always been for you, it's always been like a symbol of strength for you.
yeah. It's a privilege to be able to move your body. Don't see it as a chore or, a punishment for whatever you might have done. You can really harness it and do something worthwhile. There's a purpose, like last week was all about a purpose bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And so on the back of that, with my father, in 2021, I ran 10k a day for the year and raised £10,000 for motor neuron disease. That was my goal with that. And my dad, every day is a marathon for him, every day. And I think that's what keeps me going. Getting out of bed, putting socks on, being able to hold a cup of tea like we do. It's two hands because the strength is gone.
Brutal, that, isn't it?
Oh, it's grim, yeah. To see that atrophy of the body, it's horrible. It's almost worse as well. I don't know whether this is the right thing to say or not, but when it's a man, it's almost worse seeing it.
Yeah. It's that, the strength goes, and you can see the self-worth going, where they're meant to be looking a protector of everybody, and
Yeah.
It's
Fixer.
like, and when you've gone that, they can't be that protector anymore. It's got such a massive effect on your identity.
Yeah.
hasn't it? And you can see that going from somebody.
Yeah.
It must be so tough, that. Really tough.
And interestingly, last week, it wasn't the event that I wanted it to be for me personally, because I didn't finish it. But somebody had mentioned about the runs that we get. And similarly to, I guess, like life happening to you or for you, the runs you get are the runs you need to see.
Yeah.
So on the second day, the last 2 miles is when my ankle literally just went, no more. So I couldn't run or shuffle anymore. I had to walk with walking poles. Luckily, there was 2 people with me, so Jade kind of gave me hers. And for those 2 miles, I bitched and moaned. I ugly cried. But because I'd been slowed down and stopped,
Yeah.
it really...
Out of your control.
Yeah. Having to walk with these aids. Like, every movement was slow. Even when I got back to camp, moving around, trying to sit on the floor, trying to get up, when there's an ankle that just won't move in the way it should do.
Did you think about your dad?
Yeah. Those last 2 miles, I just thought, imagine this for the rest of my life.
Oh, fuck. What a moment.
Yeah. But real,
Yeah.
a real empathy and realisation of what that must feel like. And so I needed to see that.
Feel that.
And feel it and be in that moment with it, yeah. And that was 2 miles as well, which probably took about 45 minutes. But it felt like a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I love about running. That's what I love about hiking so far when I go on like 3 days or whatever. There's moments in it, you just like in this flowingness and realisation. I'm just like, wow. You can't explain it to somebody. And the mountain, like, she either loves you, hates you, you're at total the mercy of her. And I'm just like, you can't explain them moments.
No.
Beautiful.
And I can't explain last week, unless you were there.
Yeah.
Surrounded by such an amazing group of human beings, where there was no ego. Your times didn't matter. Everybody was cheering everybody else on. Everybody belonged there.
Yeah.
Everyone. No discrimination. No one was privileged. Everyone was just working for the same, one for the same cause, but also just for each other. Just be kind.
Let me be a bit selfish, and I'm going to talk about myself a little
Go
bit
on
again,
then.
right?
Let's hear about you. Enough about me.
So, what's always like puzzled me, right? But it doesn't now after talking to you. Every time I talk to you, I kind of get the thing about wanting to get it from your point of view.
Okay.
Why did you choose us, right, to help you with your branding? Because I thought we were so different that I'm just like, I don't understand why she's choosing us to help you with your branding, website and stuff. Why did you choose us?
What do you mean by so different?
I don't know. I just like, because I'll go back to like perfect Steph, right? That were just like, I wonder why. I wonder what was that connection to kind of go why? Because I felt like you chose us to help tell your story, and I was just like, well, why is that? Because I'm like, we're so different. Obviously, not now. Like, I just wondered what it was.
Yeah, it's interesting though. It's interesting how you say the perfect Steph thing, which is just not true.
Yeah.
But I am quite alternative, and I like alternative people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just see myself as being a little bit quirky. My mum's always called me quirky. Always. But maybe I just don't appear like that.
Yeah.
But I just thought you would be able to, and I am goofy. Like, I remember doing my photos with Kay.
Yeah.
And I just remember her laughing at me because, I just was dancing around like a twat, I want to say. Is that allowed? And I just knew it was a place that I could just be me and I wouldn't be judged for it.
That's probably the nicest thing anyone's ever said.
That sounds really silly when I say it.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wondered what that was.
Yeah.
Obviously, getting to know you a little
Just
bit
felt safe,
more.
I
I know that we're kind of the same person inside. We've got very sort of... There's a darkness in us that's very kind of... very similar about the outdoors and stuff like that, and that keep going mentality and like... But I just wondered what that was initially. And you just saying that you could just be yourself and be goofy here, it just like... That's pretty much why we set up the business in the first place. Some misfits can come and get branded up and like tell the story. Dolls. Yeah, the raggy dolls, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why I was drawn to it.
Yeah. And
it worked.
It's still working.
Yeah.
Just by being yourself.
It's still going.
Yeah, and you keep telling your story. I'd just like to see a little bit more quirky and a little bit more goofy. Yeah. Because you don't let people into that side that much. Not on your social media.
No.
Because you are very matter of fact, Steph. You've got a lovely matter of fact, very logical, you're very what's it, but nobody knows really your silly side. And you've got an amazing silly side.
No, unless they're like my friends and people that are close to me.
Yeah.
Then they would. Yeah, they'd back me up.
You're like an onion, aren't you? There's so many fucking layers to you. Can you eat onions, or are they a trigger for your stomach?
Yeah, they're a big trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, no pressure then. Go and be goofy.
Just be yourself. But it's hard. It's so hard. Like, really. It's like, I always use this analogy of like going to a school disco, right? And people go to a school disco, but like, there's a few that stand around the edge because they're scared of making themselves look like dickheads when they get on the dance floor. Yeah. And a couple of people put the foot on there and have a little what's it, but to truly get on that dance floor and dance like nobody's watching is literally what I want for everybody.
Yeah.
For everybody. No matter if they're a client or whatever, I want everybody to be fearless and get on that dance floor and just dance like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter how you dance, it's your fucking dance, do whatever you want.
Yeah, own it.
Own it.
It was interesting last week actually because we had like a main communal area, so you know everybody's up dick o'clock in the morning, 5:30, coming down, breakfast, coffee, all like ugh. And there was one guy there that always put the music on straight away, like DJ.
Yeah.
DJ Dan, let's call him. And it'd always get a few of us going. I am a morning person, so that does help. But he's like, I only need to look round, and as long as you're having a bit of a dance, he's like, I know we're all right. But again, because that was such a safe space, and everybody was just turning up as themselves, because so many people have that.
Yeah.
So many.
So many.
And they fear being accepted. I mean, I can't say that's something I think, but the judgment, I think, is one. And sometimes I think it's difficult with work. It's like you're trying to come across as being professional. Perfect.
But you have I think that's the thing for me. It's like, you know, because you do come across very professional, and you are very professional. You're amazing at what you do. You're so knowledgeable and stuff like that. But that still doesn't mean you can't be a dick. Yeah?
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
No.
And that's why I always thought perfect Steph, and we took a picture and you had like your little thing up at Hale with your picture. I'm like, oh my God, she's got no problems there at all. Her life is like perfect. Unknowing to me, like you've got the same darkness as I have.
Yeah, deep down in my core.
Deep down in your core. They're the people I love the most.
Yeah.
Because you connect with them on a total like deeper level. I just wonder what your relationship was like being a dick on social media.
Is that my next challenge?
I think so.
Wow.
Letting people see that other side of Steph.
Yeah. Okay, challenge accepted.
It's nuts, isn't it? Because it's like, you'll probably do something that's like nuts now, and you'll probably get 3 people inquiring about it, and it's got absolutely nothing to do with being a WhatsApp, but they just like who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, being able to resonate with people, isn't it?
Yeah.
On a different level.
What is next for Stephanie J. Miller? What's her next thing? What's the next adventure, and what's the next thing for a business?
Oh gosh, next adventure I really don't know. I think because I'm still processing last week. There's somebody.
Do you need to do that again now because you didn't complete it?
Interesting one. I think when you've been pulled out with injury, I'm very aware of it, so I know not to go and like enter something or look for something now, because I've done that in the past years ago, and it's the wrong thing to do. So yeah, I don't know on that one, the adventure one. I think I'm just going to let that sink in from last week.
You'll do that again. It'll be gnawing away at you because you've not completed it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you'd definitely do that again.
But it'd have to be the
Steph,
right.
you failed. You didn't do it. You didn't complete it, Steph. Can you not do it?
I'm not seeing it as a failure though. Really, like we can only grow, can't we, from things like that?
Yeah.
Like if we were successful with everything like that, which I'm quite lucky that I have been in the events that I've done.
Yeah.
So perfect Steph is perfect no more.
Yeah.
She's failed. But it's not really life. It's not. It is life changing, but it's not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally get it. It's
not going to impact my life that badly going forwards, is it? If I don't ever do it.
Yeah, because like stuff that's been out of your control, you're out of control, and that's the biggest thing for anything that's happened.
Yeah.
Like with trauma, it's like these things are out of my control. What are you going to do about it? Oh, right, I'll just let it go.
Yeah.
All right.
Just ride with it.
But there's always that niggling thing for me. I'm like, you didn't still complete it though, Tim, did you? I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
I know. I still did 100k nearly in 2 days.
But that is mint, that.
Yeah, which is still a hell of an achievement and the biggest...
Hell of achievement.
And furthest thing I've ever done.
The Sahara thing must have been brutal.
Yeah, but again, if you train well, you're going to be okay. I think part of the issue with...
What's it called? The Salda...
No, you're thinking of Marathon des Sables. It wasn't that one.
Right.
Just to say I won't ever be doing that.
I shouldn't have said it out loud, should I?
No.
It's there now, isn't it?
Why have you said that?
Oh, yeah.
That is tough.
Yeah.
You have to fully support yourself for that. Like, carry your tent and pillows and everything. Yeah, no thanks. I'm not that dark.
And for business?
Business-wise, stepping into the corporate space. So corporate wellbeing.
Yeah.
My sort of corner or arena, if you like, would be supporting women for sustainable high performance. Yeah.
So if somebody wants to get hold of you now then, how do they get hold of you? Do they message you on Instagram? Do you want them to go to the website? Where do you want them to go?
Instagram, LinkedIn, website.
Are you going to tell them what you called on Instagram, or should they just guess?
So it's at Stephanie Jane Health. LinkedIn is Stephanie Miller. Nice and simple. And website www.stephaniejanehealth.com.
Everybody message Steph. She's amazing. How long have we known each other for now?
Oh God.
Christ. It's over 10 years, isn't it? Mad that, isn't it?
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, let's go on from that. Thanks, Steph. Thank you for listening, everybody. Goodbye.
Tim Marner, what, you're branded with the best. Tim Marner, what, you're branded with the best. Tim Marner, what, you're branded with the best. Tim Marner, what, you're branded with the best.